Hi, and thanks for joining me for the Adobe Illustrator in Under 10 tutorial series where we discuss techniques in Adobe Illustrator in under 10 minutes. In this particular tutorial, we're going to discuss the perspective grid in Adobe Illustrator. Now, an easy way to get to this grid is to click the Shift and P shortcut or just click the perspective grid tool that is found at the lower bottom part of your toolbar. And when you do that, you'll notice a perspective grid comes up. In this grid, we'll find horizon lines, vanishing points, and the actual perspective shape of a box that represents how the planes are going to be affected in the actual perspective. Now I want to show you how this works by clicking a rectangle. Make sure it has a fill so you can see it clearly and what it will look like when these objects are disappearing towards the vanishing point, because it automatically adjusts for us. And in the upper left hand corner, you'll notice that we have a box or a cube, and depending upon where you click, that particular grid is actually going to be the active grid in respect to the actual perspective that you're showing currently. So right now, this upper left grid is the one that's active, and that's going to show everything going from this left grid backwards and or forward. So I'm going to click here, and as you see, as I'm creating this rectangle, it's like a huge rectangle. And that's because in accordance to this grid, that's where it would lie. Now, if I were to click in this area, notice how it's creating it, but they're getting smaller because they're approaching the vanishing point. Okay? So it does it automatically where you don't actually have to skew and adjust your artwork. So if you need a little bit of help with the perspective, you can do that. The other option is to go to View. And when you go to View, you can go down to Perspective Grid. And then you can change the type of perspective that you have on the grid. Right now, well, let's see, we're going to click 3-point. And we now have a 3-point perspective grid, and I'm going to click that, and you'll notice that with this you have 3 vanishing points, one at the bottom, one at the left, and one at the right. The horizon lines are still the same, and you can still manipulate them by getting your perspective grid tool, selecting that, and then let's say we change this and we push it here. Now we have it manipulated where we see the 3-point perspective in that manner. And if we were to, like we did before, take a rectangle with respect to this plane and create it, you'll notice that it adjusts accordingly. So actually, let's start from here and let's build up going forward. So it makes it easier to see how these actually react. So it's a very, very useful tool. Those people who are getting into drawing and learning how to do things with perspective would be best off utilizing something of this nature, especially when you're creating buildings or things of that nature. It works very, very well. So take your time, fool around with it, get used to it. You can manipulate and again change these points, the vanishing points, horizon lines, the baselines of the actual grid itself. And then when you don't want the grid present anymore, click the grid tool, and you can actually click to remove that from the actual screen itself. And you can delete these just to get rid of them. And that's how you use the perspective tool in Adobe Illustrator. So if you have any questions, feel free. You can contact me online, www.theonewillfocus.com. If you want to find me on social media, that is the best place to get to me. I'm at The One Will Focus, all spelled out, TheOnewillFocus. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the next tutorial. Take care.